Hello, I made it. Oh, sorry for the delay, everybody. Can you mute your? Sorry, I'm just asking Cal to mute his computer so I don't hear myself and lag time. Okay. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me here at my virtual studio party. Um, what promises to be a series of virtual studio parties, although I don't have any details on any future dates. So just checking the chat here. I can't see you, Cheryl. All I can get is the chat. Okay, so oh, good. So Cal, you were chatting with them while I was. So here's the funny thing. So I'm on Mac computer, which means I run Safari. You don't have to run Safari as your browser, but it's the sort of the default. And it turns out I needed to use a different browser so I could chat with you, but I couldn't actually run live video on YouTube without changing my browser. So in the time that I was gone, I actually downloaded Firefox, installed it, signed out of YouTube on Safari, signed into YouTube, ran into a little snafu with that, got on. So here I am. It's kind of it's kind of indicative of the times, isn't it? Cheryl, no, I don't know if you're in PJs. In fact, the nice thing about this kind of party is you can come as you are completely. I have to show up, looking quasi-adult, but the rest of you can just chill out, which is really nice. Um, yeah, so hopefully we had a big windy storm here. I don't know how it is where you are, but we had terrible rain, terrible wind, but it seems to have passed and the sky has brightened, so thank goodness for that. And that also bodes well for keeping our power on and keeping the internet going. So that's really good for the for for this party. Yes, you can eat in front of me, Cheryl, and I won't have any idea. But I'm kind of hoping that you brought some refreshments with you, since it wouldn't really be a party without them. Unfortunately, I can't play any music because I would be violating copyright regulations on YouTube. But you can feel free to crank up whatever your favorite music is. And the nice thing is you can all have your own tastes, so that's kind of cool. Um, no worry about spinach in the teeth. I'm doing okay. That's good. My teeth are notorious for that. So let's see what else is saying. Marianne, I can see your chats. So yes, well done. Thanks, Linda. Hi, Patricia. So glad you could join us. That's really great. This is an easy party to attend. As long as you've got internet, you're good to go. So who brought art supplies? I'd like to see if anybody brought anything to play with. Totally optional. You can just hang out and chat and whatever. Oh, Winnie did. Excellent. So let me know in the chat if you did bring art supplies and what you did bring to play with. Oh, excellent. Marianne's going to be jelly printing on deli paper, I gather. So that's good. Valerie's brought papers.
She's doing collage.
Oh, Val's doing collage. Excellent. Debbie, you brought something. I mean, honestly, if you had two devices, one you could watch this on and a computer you could work on. You could work in Photoshop. You could be drawing on your iPad. Oh, good. Cheryl's brought her iPad. That's one. Pam's brought her iPad. Winnie, you're going to be jelly printing. That's awesome. Linda too. So there's a lot of jelly printing going on, and Debbie too. Awesome. Oh wow. Cal's feed of me is looking very broken up and digital and glitchy. I kind of wish we could capture that video actually, because I could use that in art. Um, anyway, I'm going to be jelly printing. I have kind of vague ideas of things, but that I might try out. But I'm going to do a little just open-ended play first because I find that's a great way to get warmed up. So, is I wanted to before I actually I have to get sort of set up a little bit. I've got my here. I'll show you. I've got my sort of stuff there, but not quite organized the way I'd like it. So I'm going to do that, and hopefully, my voice is so quiet. I know you'll have trouble hearing me. Hi, Patricia. Did you bring something too? So just I suggested to Cal he just bring a little sketchbook and something to draw with. I'll show you something though, and I expect that some people are going to kind of join us as the afternoon wears on. Oh, hi, Lisa. Is there a way? Lisa, unfortunately, YouTube live streams, it's just the chat. I'm thinking of doing a future party on Zoom, which is a platform where we can share and see each other's faces. So I wanted, pardon me, I just dropped something. I wanted to make this one, even though I've never used YouTube live stream before, I thought YouTube would make it as broadly accessible as possible. I've done Facebook Live before, I've done Instagram Live before, but not everybody has Facebook or Instagram, and so I just wanted to make it really super accessible. But I would very much like to do some Zoom parties, just laying out my silicone sheet here, because of the fact that you can actually talk and as well as text chat, and we can share what we're up to. So I'm going to try to remember to look at the camera so that you'll feel like I'm actually looking at you. It's a very odd thing. I'm not used to being on camera. So yeah. So I wanted to ask you, is everyone doing okay? I want to make sure that nobody's in straits right now. The excitement is building. Good to be included. Thanks, Eileen. And Patricia, you're just sitting in for a little while. Well, that's great that you're sitting in for a little while. I'm so glad you could come on for as long as you're able to stay with us. So anyway, I thought I should have this virtual studio party because social isolation is obviously the thing we all need to be doing with the COVID-19 crisis. But with social isolation, a lot of things happen. One is the news cycle becomes a vortex, and it's so, of course, you want to keep apprised of what's going on, but it can become very difficult in terms of your mental health and so on. It's a very anxious making time. And so I thought it would be nice to get away from that, and being creative and having some company, I think, is one of the best ways to do that. But also, like, everything's been canceled, right? So if you were used to going to classes, or you were used to going to a life drawing group, or an open studio, or whatever, not to mention, family and social engagements, this is a tough time because those things are so good for us, right? So anyway, I wanted to show you, the odd person in the group may not be familiar with jelly printing, but there are a couple of prints I did recently, and I thought I'd show you here. It's a combination of, oh, it looks all right on my screen. Does it not look okay on yours?
Well, I'm getting breakup, but it's okay.
Okay. Sorry, just, got to confer with my right-hand man here. There we go. And, oh, there he is. There's his right hand. You can take it back now. And then another one. So these two prints, I obviously did some abstract brayer painting, and then I worked with actual plants. I forget what they were. It looks like either flat parsley or cilantro. And Winnie may remember them. I may have done them in the gel plate printing class that I had at Nielsen Park in the winter term. So let's see what I've got. First thing I need to do is pick a plate. So I have a whole bunch of plates. This one was the very kind gift of one of my colleagues. This is the 8x10. One of my colleagues at Redhead Gallery, Peggy Taylor Reid, who was due to have a show in May, her solo show in May, coinciding with Contact. He's a photo-based artist. And, with all of this going on, the Redhead Gallery we're all talking about what we're going to do in terms of our schedule of exhibitions and so on, because it's so I quite like the little 5x7 because it's so easy to work with that, and the 6x6. I think I'll start with one of them, maybe the 6x6. I'm very fond of squares, and it's a nice smaller size to work with. Oh, you know what I didn't bring is my baby wipes. Great. There should be some in the bin or whatever. Okay. To see if I can read any. Eileen, did you bring any art supplies along with this for this party? Oh, I'm glad you guys are doing well. Let's see. I thank you, Winnie. I'm so glad you think it's a great way to connect. I really, once social isolation became a really established thing. I had been socially isolating for a bit beforehand. Although a week ago today, I was teaching a high school art group, Weston Collegiate Institute, all day long. That was my final public thing. And the Wednesday night before, I had been, so just 2 days before, I had been in Oshawa giving a demonstration that went very well. It was so really nice group, and things like that. You really miss them. Let's see. Being in a group is, yeah, I think so, and especially creative group, right? It's like being back at Nielsen Park, or Markham Group of Artists workshop or something like that, with some friendly people and some art supplies. And there's something also about the tactile, getting re-engaged with your tactile senses, with your body, that gets you out of all the worry and just sort of generalized anxiety. Even if you're well set up and your family's well set up and you're very philosophical about the fact that we need to wait this out and wait and see, there's still just a generalized anxiety in the air that affects all of us. I think especially the kind of people who are attracted to art tend to be somewhat more porous, more sensitive to what's going on, more absorbing of what's going on. And so I think it makes it extra valuable to get back into something that brings a measure of our full humanity back and our senses back into play. Just giving my plate a little cleaning. It's got some little things on it, but you know, what in my house doesn't?
In yoga, we call it a Sangha, a group of like-minded people.
Oh, that's nice. I like
Christine
that.
and Ling. Hi, Christine.
Oh, hi, Christine. Thanks so much for joining us. Oh, that's so great. I really appreciate all of you coming. It's very, it's joyful for me to create community. And so I appreciate you coming along and making it with me. All right. I'm going to get warmed up with something just silly and fun. Let's see what I've got here. I need some deli paper. Which I seem to have plenty of. Yeah, in fact, I ordered, this is deli paper for people who are not gel plate or jelly plate printing aficionados. It is the kind of paper they might wrap your sandwiches in, except that it's unwaxed. And I just ordered, I already had a decent stash, but I was teaching this winter and I taught the class, the high school class, and then I was anticipating doing some gel plate kind of what was I call it? Jelly jams, I was going to call it, at the Small Arms Inspection Building, the old factory space where I had the In Situ event in 2018 and 2016. I was part of this incredible event. They have public times and I could run classes, so I thought it'd be fun to do jelly jam. So I went and ordered 1,000 more sheets of deli paper, and then social isolation happened. So got a lot of paper. So I should use some of it. Okay, first barrier cream. Just for a change, I'm going to try not to put it on after I've got cadmium red all over my hands, you know. Other options to silicone roll.
Maybe that's not.
Yes, I'm not sure what that is. Got your favorite sketchbook. Excellent, Eileen. So glad to hear it. Drawing is such a wonderful, simple way to, and portable, to get back into being creative and focusing on something other than what's going on and being in your body. That's what Cal's doing. Okay, I've got my string. Got my string, but do I have scissors? I might have scissors here. Nope, I don't have scissors here. Just get my scissors.
Valerie asks, where do you order the deli paper from?
Yes. Yes. I know Linda's here, right? And Marianne. They and Helen used to get it from the States, and I don't think it was 12 by 12. This is just from Amazon. There is a, what do they call it? Unwaxed for sure. And I think they just call it deli paper. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Marianne or Linda. And there just seems to be, there might be a different supplier for smaller quantities and then for bigger quantities, although it's all on one page. So you can order, there's checkerboard, there's a brown, like craft paper color. And in the white, like I've got here, they come in quantities of 100, 250, or 1,000 with price breaks at each level. So I just the first time I ordered 100 and quickly regretted that because I went through it so quickly. Wonderful thing about it is that it's very thin. So if you're going to build up collage, you're not building up a lot of thickness when you apply it. So it's very handy for that. Okay. I know. I'm going to do a 2-stage print. Just can't seem to help myself. There we go. Rooting around in my paint box here. I'm going to start with some quinacridone magenta.
Donna Nicholas just joined us.
Oh, good. Hi, Donna. So glad you could join us. You were jelly plating in your kitchen just the other week, as I recall. It's not a very thorough view of my workspace. I'll move some things in. Take in more. Oh yeah. Oh, of course I've got my left and right mixed up. It's not too bad actually. So don't back it up much. Good. Okay. All right, I'm going to put layer 1 down. There we go. Beautiful magenta.
D Stone.
What's your first name, D Stone? I'm not recognizing your name, but hi and welcome. I'm so glad you can be here.
Oh, it's Donna Nichols. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Sorry.
That's all right. You buy all your deli paper from Amazon, Linda. Excellent. Yeah. I mean, it'd be lovely if there was a local supplier, but I'm not aware of one. There. So I'm getting a second print, which has lots of nice texture. And, if you're working on something or whatever, I'm just going to share what I'm doing. But pay attention only as suits you. As I said, this is not a class, it's a creative gathering. But I thought since I'm on the screen, it'd be kind of nice if you saw me, what I actually made from things. Oh. And now I realize I need a different plan for what I was going to do. That's all right.
Sharon Kirsch has joined us.
Awesome. That's so great. Okay. Has everyone seen this fabulous green-gray color? That it's actually grayer than it shows up as on my screen. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful. Actually, it makes me think of Susan Dane for her paintings, for those of you who know her. It's a wonderful counterpoint to brighter warm colors or even brighter cool colors as well. Okay. Done that. Got a wipe. Guess I could have got another print from that. Oh well. I can't save everything. I try, but I can't. So nice to have you here, Sharon. Are you in your studio? Are you going to be painting or drawing or something while you're with us? I'm going to try something transparent. Wish I had a Payne's gray. Oh well. Is this there? No, that's cool. Is this there with me? Yes, that's
Halo, Halo.
No, I did cut a piece of string already. Okay. Actually, maybe I'll use this. Use this stencil I made, or mask I made the other day. That would be nice. Okay. Hi, Bev. Thanks for joining us. So glad you could be here. That's great. All right. I'm going to work on a second layer now. Guess I put too much paint on. That's all right. I will. This here. Good. And let's see if I can register this sort of. I feel. Oops.
Patricia has decided to stay.
Yeah? Oh, that's good. There. Second layer. Now, take the mask off. This mask that I've made, by the way, I just made with totally normal copy paper. But the more I use it, the more acrylic paint gets on it and the stronger it gets. So that's kind of handy. And the less absorbent it gets. So that side was white when I started, so it's totally absorbent. And it's absorbed most of the paint. But I better get on with my printing or it'll be dry. That's right, I should actually have some open medium here. What's that? There we go. Yeah, let's see if the paint was too dry. Well, it was kind of dry, so I got a bit of a ghost. I can work with that. All right. So that means I'm going to need to do a pickup layer. So let's do. You do me a favor when you come back here?
Yeah.
There's an unopened on top of that box on the sofa, an unopened package of office paper. All right. Let's see if we can get much up with this pickup layer. Wow, it's quite atmospheric. Now let's get another one.
Donna asks, why open medium? She has a lot of gel medium.
So open medium can be added to any acrylic paint. It's made by Golden. Okay. And it increases the open time, which means that it doesn't dry as quickly. Unlike retarder, it's not an additive, so you can, in theory, add as much as you want, although in practice, you don't want it to take as long as an oil painting necessarily, right? So you don't want to do a layer of gel printing and then have to wait a week to be able to do your next layer. So, ooh, that's kind of fun. So, yeah, so I just add, in fact, I'll do that in my next. One of the nice things about the deli paper is that the prints dry quite quickly on them because the air access from the back even is quite good. Okay.
A couple of people lost the connection. A couple of people have got it back.
Okay.
It's just breaking up.
Yeah.
If you're on Wi-Fi.
Try to locate yourself. If you're using Wi-Fi, try to locate yourself as close to the router that provides the Wi-Fi as possible. Or maybe it's your modem that has a built-in router. That will just make the signal more reliable. Yeah, I've actually got I'm using my Ethernet cable, which is my hardwired connection, and you can actually do that too from your modem if you want to. But your modem may be in a very difficult location, and you may not have the cables and all of that, and I get that. So just if there's a part of your house where you know that the signal is better, then maybe move to that part of the house.
And refreshing their browser, maybe?
Yes, you can also try refreshing your browser in case it was just a blip in your Wi-Fi. Good suggestion, dear. Okay, what am I going to do? Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do some mark making because mark making is fun. So, Dollarama for about 12 seconds had offered, actually this isn't it, but it was about this size, a pair of Betty Crocker silicone spatulas, 2 different shapes that were fantastic. And as I say, they offered them for about 12 seconds. And so the next time I went in, I've never seen them again. I saw them once and then never again. If anyone ever spots them, because of course the price was cheap and cheerful, which is kind of my budget level. Please let me know, because they were. I wish I had more of them. Anyway, they're fantastic for doing mark making on gel plates, as are pencils, but not the sharp end. Okay, what color shall I use? I've got blues, so I kind of want to do something warm. Got here. Let's try this. Whoa, that was a bit overexcited of me. But I'm not naturally excitable at all. Okay. Get some of that excess paint off. Oh, I forgot to add the open medium, Donna. Sorry about that. I will do it, though, I promise. Actually, why don't I use the small one first? Sharon, the first time we met was in expressive drawing for the Markham Group of Artists, as I recall. It was after that you went to Halliburton and took the acrylics course. I'm glad you're back, Pam. Video gone. Okay, it's back. Yeah. It was a good workshop. As usual, I had too much planned for it. I'm trying to get better with that as I get older, but I always want to do so many things, and that's just characteristic of me in my life, right? So here I am, not having done all the things I wanted to do in the house in light of the COVID situation, but I knew that what I needed to do was do this. So I'm doing this, and I'm really glad I am, because it is very nice feeling like we're all together, even if it's virtually. Hi, Linda. Welcome back. Yes. I have a big appetite for life. That's sort of how I look at it. You know, I spent a lot of years being very ill and really having no life. We had our business, which Cal had to run, and I just did certain limited things whenever I could, whether it was design or bookkeeping or whatever, tech stuff. And when I emerged from that, I did that work, you know, sometimes, a lot of times from my bed. When I emerged from that, I was greedy for life. So I know it's not always prudent, but you know, sometimes prudence is overrated. And I've had some fantastic experiences because I said yes to them. I've also had to learn to say no to things, but I was tired of saying no to everything, which is what I used to have to do. So for a while, I said yes to way too many things. I'm enjoying having you chat with us in the studio. Oh, I'm delighted, Lisa. That's a really fortunate thing, actually. Without that, it would be it would make this whole thing kind of fall apart. So yeah, I have one friend who is a a very strong introvert, and she's especially introverted about her studio practice. So I didn't even bother inviting her because I figured nothing about this would appeal to her. Although it, truth be told, this is pretty good for introverts because you're not actually
On display.
having to look at a whole lot of people, and you're not on display. Only I'm the only one who's actually on display, and you can even be silent in the chat if you're so introverted that you don't want to be in the chat. Okay, I'm gonna see what I can pick up from the residue of my plate because I think there's
Marg
still
just
quite a
joined
lot.
us.
Hey, Marg! Yay! So glad you could join us. I hope you're in the part of your apartment where you get the best Wi-Fi signal, or you're plugged in, because you might occasionally cut out otherwise, in which case just get back on and refresh your browser.
I pasted the link. I put the link in the chat. So.
Oh, good. So the link is somewhere in the chat there if you need to get back on. Or...
And Marg said she's been decorating small boxes. Keep busy.
Oh, good.
And she's hearing loud and clear.
Excellent. Well, here's hoping this works out.
But it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's just it would be fun if it did. Right. I don't think I showed you how the last one turned out. But first, I'll show you all three once I've seen if I can pick anything up from this. Because I didn't add open medium, I have to hurry to get this back on for the next print before it dries. Might even brayer it. One of these days I might break down and buy a Baron. Yeah, I'm not going to get much. Ooh, it's kind of interesting though.
Debbie asks, have you ever used tissue paper for deli work?
No. Now, one of the things, I'm sure it can work.
Tissue paper?
Well, I'm sure tissue paper can work, but one of the things that would concern me about tissue paper versus deli paper is the wet strength. So tissue paper normally kind of dissolves when it gets wet, whereas deli paper is designed to be wrapping around food, so it's designed for wet strength. And washi paper and Chinese mulberry paper is also has good wet strength, even when it's thin. But Debbie, have you had good experience with tissue paper? Maybe it's the tissue paper you use.
Deborah Ronsberg just joined us.
Hi, Deborah. So glad you could come.
Val says she's used tissue paper, just have to be very careful lifting it.
Yes, you would have to be careful lifting it. And I know some people are very keen on spraying their plates with water and creating watery effects. You would not want to be doing watery effects if you were using tissue paper. Just the paint itself has plenty of water content. So
Debbie Moses says, actually tried tracing paper.
yes, yes.
That would be sweet.
Now, did it crinkle at all on you, Debbie? Because it can crinkle depending on the water, you know, how much water there is in what you're using. But tracing paper is stronger, but it's about sort of absorbency. Even the deli paper crinkles a little bit.
Debbie says, yes, it did.
Yeah, yeah. But the deli paper crinkles a little bit too. Okay, wow. I might want to spray this to get a little more moisture in it. Note to self, put the open medium in my pickup layer. Let's see what we get. Okay. All right. So I'm getting these beautiful grounds. The glare from the light might. Here, let me put a white piece of paper behind it. Can you pass me one?
Yeah, that's exactly a wad.
Okay. Does that help? Yeah, that helps a little bit. So you can see that there are all these lovely colors in it. You know, I could even make it look waxy, Sharon. And there's one of my earlier ones. Yeah, that's great if you bring that closer. It is good if it comes from a couple of directions. Here's the other one I want to show. So I had made this print. That was I laid a cad red light layer over the magenta and blue layer, and the cad red light had the mark making, and so you can see. Bring it in closer. You can see the marks. So then, after that, I tried to pull a print from the remaining paint, and I got that, which will just become the base for something else. And then I added blue paint and got that, which turned out quite nicely. Now the color's sort of shifting. No, it's actually pretty good. Oops. There's my light back. I kind of like that shape there. That's kind of neat. Anyway, just so you can see what I'm actually producing here. Now,
Pam says fabulous grounds.
yeah, I have to say, I found gel plate almost incomparable in terms of making gorgeous grounds. Especially, I've made some wonderful corroded looking with layers of different colors and all looking like some rusty metal furniture that have been left out for 40 years with 12 layers of paint on them. Very, very nice. Yeah.
Sounds like Pam's often distressed effects on photographs.
Yes, actually. And so some of you know that I do Tradigital art webinars, which are running this year every 2 weeks. And we work in Photoshop, combining. Sometimes we just work in Photoshop, and we work with some things that with photographs and effects and vintage photography and vintage clip art from online and so on.
Mark says she loves using the Japanese paper that comes on a roll. Can't remember the name.
Yeah, there's more than one that comes on a roll, but yes. Yeah, and I like working with the Chinese paper that comes on a roll too. It was so sad when the Japanese paper place sent out their email that they were closing up, because I know Nancy was reluctant. I actually was due to give a demonstration at her store at the Japanese paper place on Wednesday the 25th, so not far from now, 10 days from now. And I was so excited about it. It was going to be really fun. And I pulled out. Before they contacted me, I just said, I can't do it, you know, with everything that's going on. And she, of course, she totally understood. And she said that she'll book me when things, I don't know, when things go back to normal. It's going to be a phrase that will be coming out a lot, I think. Okay, what do I want? I think some red. This calls for some red oxide. I think I better put some colors away. So this one I will add some open medium to help me, I hope, with the lifting. Because if the paint layer you're trying to lift with gets semi-dry, it doesn't lift properly. So
Words to lift by.
this is what I do. The thing about, you see this bottle, and I forget what it cost. Of course, a golden medium is not inexpensive, but you need so little of it. The other reason to use it is if you've got paint mixed in your palette and you want to be able to leave it for a week, you can do that with this, especially if you use the kind of palette I use.
Prepare yourself for
which is this butcher tray. You see it's got these sides, so I might put a little of this in, mist it, and put some Glad press and seal over top. And I can come back 2 weeks later. If I've done the seal properly and it's got a little of this in it, mixed in with the colors, then yeah, I can come back 2 weeks later. Or I can just keep painting and keep painting. So it's no issue at all. It's also good if you're doing painting effects that where normally you might think, oh, it'd be better to use oil. Adding this medium for blending, for example, being able to go back and work into something. They have a gel that's open as well, and it therefore extends the open time. And as I say, you can add it to anything that's any paint that's acrylic polymer based or compatible with acrylic polymer. So why do I mention that? Because you can add acrylic mediums to watercolor. People don't typically, but you could. And you could also add them to gouache. Yeah. I just can't stop spouting this stuff. I'm sorry. Just get printing, Kim. And I forgot to add the medium. I was so busy talking, I forgot to add the medium. Just classic Kim. Anybody who's been in one of my classes will recognize this pattern. Okay. Kim, I think you'll like that distressing there. Now I'm going to try some of this paper. So on the question of mulberry paper, so the Chinese invented paper, right? And they made it from mulberry fibers. And it's still, they make it from other fibers too. It's commonly called rice paper, although there is a rice paper, it's not actually, normally it's actually referring to mulberry paper.
Helen Jones has joined us.
Hey, Helen, welcome.
Was she here before?
Where was I? Oh, and then the Japanese got hold of paper making technology and did their characteristic thing that they do with every kind of craft they do, and turned it into this extraordinary thing. Now, I say that with great respect to the Chinese paper makers, but the cultures are different in terms of how they develop things. but I don't want to get into the cage fight about, you know, is Chinese or Japanese better? They're different. Anyway, Japanese paper also uses mulberry fiber. It's a really long answer to your comment there, Mark. Again, it's not the only fiber they use, but it is commonly used. Okay, so I got a distressed print. This is off some paper that I'm very excited to have back in my house. The jelly printers among you will be interested especially, but really anyone, because you can use it for whatever. I inkjet print onto it, for example. It's not necessary, it doesn't have to be this make, but this is the one I got most recently. Hewlett Packard Premium Choice LaserJet. What it is a bond paper, like a normal office paper, except it's premium. It's so premium that it's 32 pound instead of the normal 20 pound. So it's substantially heavier. It's really got some heft to it. And it is acid free. So it's suitable for art things. And I like the 32 pound better than the 28 pound. The 28 pound is more readily available. This one I ordered off of Amazon. I have gotten 32 pound at some point from Staples. And you can't ask staff people. They have no clue when you're asking for the 32 pound premium bond that's acid free. They say, we don't have any acid free paper. Right, Winnie? So anyway, bought from Amazon. So glad to have some back. All right. This time, honest to God, I'm going to put some open medium in my paint. Okay. So that I can show how little you actually need. Let's put a little smear more. There we go. So now I'm putting it on.
It's like a drop, eh?
I'm literally putting a fat drop. So, you know, this is using 2.5 fat drops. This bottle will last a while, which is good news, right? You can, of course, also use retarder. So if you have retarder, you can use retarder. Problem is you shouldn't use, retarder shouldn't be more than 20 or 30% of your paint mixture. So I'm using that delicious gray green. And it's just so satisfying. I'll hold it up so you can see it even better. Look at that gorgeous color. All right. Could be a bit too much paint, so I'll just thin it out a little bit. What's in the middle? What's my middle name there, Cal?
Roth, because
Roth?
Pam was saying that it was reminding her of Rothko.
Trust Cal to find a pun. Yeah, you got the same answer at Staples. It's because they have no idea, right? This is the problem I encounter a lot. So I do my own research and I go in and I usually take a printout of what I'm after to make sure I get what I need, you know, because I know they won't understand. And because, you know, some of the manufacturers, so I'm just trying to lift off some of the grunge from my plate, and it turned out really nicely.
Check this out, Pam.
Isn't that lovely, distressing? So, yeah, very nice. Okay. So I've got some grounds that I want to activate here. Maybe,
Color.
and I will add open medium again to slow down the drying. The crusty bits off.
Pam says, ooh.
Yeah, thought you'd like that. Maybe I'll throw in a bit of peach.
Be careful with the fuzz.
Who called the fuzz?
Wow.
There you go. I can sling them out too.
Welcome to their world.
Staples is never going to win any knowledgeable because, yeah, it's so true.
Beth says, wonderful colors together.
Thank you, Bev. Oh, I forgot to add some open medium. All right. It's usually better to do it on the little piles of paint, the little chocolate chips, I like to think of them as. But I'll just put a couple on here, and I'll just brayer back and forth to try and mix well.
Val says, some of the best ones come from those leftover bits on the plate.
Exactly. That's why I'm doing this. Well, and that corroded residue look would be so perfect with what you do, Val. With all those found discarded things. Oh, right. Yeah, there was a reason I was putting... It's amazing how my brain works. When it works. All right, let's see what I can do here. Let's do a little... Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun. Already excited. This is why play is so good. All right, fingers crossed. It's windy again. Is it stormy at any of your places? So if I had a nice rigid piece of acrylic, I could use this like a stamp. But I don't, so I'm just going to have to kind of lower it. Hope for the best. There we go. And then I'll flip it over. Just because I want it to more or less register with what's underneath. Here's hoping. Oh, look at that cow.
Oh. Watch out, Donna Saul.
Well, Donna Saul in miniature.
Yeah.
Different kind of mark, but
Yep.
similar scale relative to the size of the piece. Okay. hard to convey I have daylight lights, the lighting for this video. They're daylight temperatures, so they make things look cooler. These colors are quite warm because I've used the unbleached titanium and the red oxide, and a bit of that gray-green residue is in there. So it's hard to see how warm it is, but
this is warming things up a little bit.
is that, yeah, but that's out of
Yeah.
there. Maybe that's slightly better. Anyway,
Donna says yum.
I'm kind of pleased with that. What I like is the fact that it registers all the characteristics of the mark. You know, it's like when you print with plants, you can get a really, or some other textured materials, you get a really photographic feeling. It's like a photogram. And mark making, similarly, very, very sensitive to everything you've done in the mark, including subtle pressure things, paint thickness things. And it's left me with some delicious residue. So that'll be fun. So now I get the fun of thinking about what color to put on it. So this is a good time to just sit back and enjoy a bit of my cold hot chocolate. Has anyone else got something nice they're drinking?
Sing Ko says, hello, K&K. Where's my hot cocoa?
You're going to have to make it. Welcome. Welcome, Hyun. So Seng Ko, you might notice the similarity in our last names. He's my cousin. Thanks for coming. That's so nice.
Cheryl Bailey just joined.
No, she's been with us.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
But
Bengal Spice.
Yeah, she's responding to my question.
Right.
Bengal Spice tea is so good, isn't it? So, yeah, I'm a little jealous now. Although I do love hot chocolate. It's homemade hot chocolate, I might add. It's organic Dutch cocoa from Costco, because that's the only price level of organic Dutch cocoa we can afford, and made with soy milk, and made with stevia instead of sugar. So, and I love it. Greetings from Peterborough. Right, you're in Peterborough. Oh, thanks for coming, Patricia. Be well. Thinking of you. So, Sang-Hyun, are you working from home? Is that where it stands for you? From Peterborough home? I just heard there's a wonderful woman we've been dealing with at the Gladstone Hotel, where Cal was part of the Come Up to My Room event, which is a big event every year. This was the 18th year, I think. And I had a solo show, which a few of you may have heard about. And anyway, so the director of exhibitions, you know, a hotel in these times of social isolation, plus a hotel based on art events that bring lots of people together. This is a disaster for them. I mean, they've been around a long time, so I'm sure they'll weather the storm like so many of us, but our friend there, who's head of exhibitions, is going to be laid off as of next week, which is very sad. So, but she might join us on an upcoming virtual studio party. So that's really nice. Oh, my aunt is with my cousin, so that's very nice. Please say hi and give my love to your mom, Sang-Hyun. Oh, that's good. All right, I'm ready to kick butt on this plate. Yeah, what am I gonna do?
St. John says, I will.
Oh, thank you, Han. I actually invited Shauna and Rachel and Jessica to join into the party. So we'll see. Those are all cousins or honorary nieces of mine on the Coe clan. For those of you who are not part of the Coe clan. So my cousin who's with us, his daughter Jessica, it makes me so proud. First, she graduated from art and art history at U of T Mississauga, and that's a joint program with Sheridan College. And then she did a postgraduate program in graphic design, if you can believe it. So I feel so chuffed that she followed in Cal's and my footsteps in a way. You know, whether she intended it that way or not. I don't know. Why do I feel like I'm missing the color I need? Let's think about this. Fine, I'll give this a go. Get the crusty bit off. So we've been doing pretty well with the social isolation situation because Cal stopped going into. When did you stop going into work? Last Monday. Last Monday night.
This Monday.
This past Monday
Yes,
night.
yeah.
And of course, there was nobody there, so he was isolated even when he was at Nielsen. And we were at my mother's on the weekend. But one of the weird things is, like, you know, she has a kitchen faucet that's acting up. So unfortunately, we weren't able to repair it last weekend because we had to get a part from the manufacturer. And the manufacturer is actually located quite near to us. So they said, oh, yeah, it'll just be a day. You know, Cal called them on Monday about getting the part. And so we had to call them today because it hadn't shown up. And, you know, they're probably scrambling like everybody in the world trying to figure things out with the COVID situation. So anyway, they said they'd sent it by FedEx and it should arrive today. So I'm hoping that's true because it hasn't arrived yet, right?
No.
Yeah. So hopefully, mind you, because we're not an office location, we're probably low on or a commercial location, we're probably low on the schedule. All right. I forgot to add open medium again because I was so busy talking. Classic. So Valerie, do you have enough stock of discarded garbage items to do your prints and collages from, I hope? To tide you over for a bit? And Deborah, are you painting as we do this today, or doing something else? Oh, wow. It's sort of banded. That's interesting. Huh.
Val says half of her studio is full of garbage.
Well, this will give you a chance to work your way through it, right? Oh, yeah. My studio looks like that's the case, but it's not actually garbage. Mind you, garbage for you is art supplies, so really it's the same difference, right? There, that's what I got. See the banding in there? That's sort of interesting, eh? I didn't, there was no intentional part of that, but I love the gifts that happen as you do this process. I like that one.
Deborah says, I'm working on a painting, just enjoying listening to you.
Oh, that's so nice, Deborah. I saw you had, I think you shared a diptych on Instagram yesterday, I think it was. Sweetie, I don't suppose I could trouble you for another.
Yeah, of course.
That would be awfully nice. So, Ken, I guess you're just going to have to be jealous because I'm getting another hot chocolate. I'm sure Cal would make one for you if he could. What we need is a Star Trek replicator where you can just walk up to it and say, hot chocolate, and get it. Art supply budget is really low when you work with garbage. Totally. Plus, you get so many surprises, right? I've been impressed with the things that you've worked with and found and whatever. Uh-oh. No, it's actually all right. I thought something was creased here, but it's fine. Now, I had an idea. I'm wondering. I think I'm going to clean this off. And start to work on the idea I had to begin with, now that I'm sort of warmed up.
St. Jan says, I'll just have to make do with my Kawartha ice cream.
You poor, poor man. Kawartha ice cream is awesome. I remember from distant memories when I still ate ice cream. I wish they made something for those of us who can't have dairy. But milk is what they do, so I understand. But we still stop by the Kawartha Dairies place in Minden when we go up to Halliburton.
So Cheryl's leaving. Cheryl Daly has to leave.
Okay. Bye, Cheryl. Thanks for joining us. Glad you could be at the party. And there will be more.
Donna says, I'm so lucky. My doctor just phoned me in lieu of a visit on Monday. She is self-isolating after a trip.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that, Donna.
And Christine Ling says, I can see why 100 sheets of deli paper wouldn't last long.
Yeah. Well, you know, one of the beauties of this form of printmaking, really, like, no matter what Winnie and I have had this conversation, you know, no matter what your real art interest is, this doesn't have to be your real art interest, although it's perfectly legitimate for it to be, as is the case with Linda, for example. But it's very quick and improvisational and full of surprises and responsive, and a really fun way to play with color and atmosphere and visual texture and shapes and mark making. I mean, actually, why don't I show you something? Once I get this clean. You know, aside from more abstract mark making, you can actually do some wonderful things with drawing. And if you were very patient and inclined to more elaborate work, you can build it up to be quite detailed and rich and so on. Okay. This is what we have vacuum cleaners for, right? Okay.
Saying Ho has to leave.
Sanghyun.
Saying Yan, yes.
Yeah, I doubt Sangho's on the call.
No, it's saying Ho. And Diane Valvasori says, thanks, Kim. What a great way to pass the afternoon.
Oh, hi, Diana. I didn't know you were here. So glad you made it. What time is it, by the way?
It's just past 3:30.
Oh, is it?
But you started late.
Right. Well, I'm going to stay on for a while longer, so I understand if you have to leave, but
I'll be heading down to the most.
right. Yeah, Cal will have to leave soon, but I'm going to stay on for a little while longer because I'm sort of on a roll anyway. So I might as well just leave the webcam rolling while I do my thing here. But obviously, if you need to leave, you can feel free to. Well, that's kind of an interesting thing on my roller. Wish I could capture that. Oh, yes, I have the stand here. Very full. Okay. Maybe I'll do something a little more. Here, you can see my plate better now. If only I thought of that earlier. I'm using an acrylic paint pen. Laying in some middle values with the red.
Does the paint pen stay wet long enough, Kim?
Oh, yes, good question. So if I worked quickly, I could get a print right off it. But really, what I do is I use it to, I let it dry. So it's drying about a third of, quarter of it is dry already. So you've seen how long I've been at work. And that allows me to build stuff up. I'll show you before I put the black in. There's my middle value. It's first time, this is literally the first time I'm doing this particular technique, not using paint pens. I've used paint pens and felt pens. You can use water-based markers, all kinds, alcohol-based markers. Um, uh, but using a sort of hatching to draw an imaginary partial portrait this is a new thing. So I'm just, like, as with so much of my life, I'm making it up as I go along. It's not very wet. You know it's true, Cal.
I do.
You know better than most. That other pen was a little low on paint, so I'm going with something that's, I know is, wow, that's got loads of paint. Ooh, that's fun. Oh, it's quite fun. Now I'm doing contour lines. I was going to do hatching. I started hatching, but I slid into that lovely comfort zone of contour lines. Ooh, it's fun. I haven't actually drawn portraits in a while now. It's one of the things about being as multidisciplinary as I am, is I go through long stretches of not doing certain things that I have done a lot of in my life, but I'm always learning new things, like this YouTube live stream stuff. Yet another example. Oh, you know, I could get a monoprint off of this black because the black is staying wet long enough. So let me just see what I get. Let's get the first print. The red won't come across, but the black will. Okay, so that's from the acrylic paint pen.
Oh, nice.
And I still have all that black on my plate, so that's going to be really great. Okay. I'm going to put a touch of blue in there. I think that'll be a nice counterpoint to what's going on. Oops. Black bled into the blue. Okay, so stay away from the black, obviously. Interesting. So the packaging for this blue pen, Daler Rowney paint pen, makes the blue look lighter than it is. So that's the kind of thing you discover by trying. You're heading off now, dear?
I am.
Okay.
I'm just making sure that isn't a resist pen.
No.
No.
No, it's just an acrylic paint marker. Just for those of you who are interested. Sorry, just Daler Rowney acrylic paint marker. I don't recommend these actually very much. So far, my favorites are these Uni Posca pens. They're really, I don't know, the paint quality seems really good. The color, well, I guess this red could be, what kind of red does it say it is? The red could be more intense, just says red. But it's versatile for, you can apply it to non-absorbent surfaces, not just absorbent ones. So that's kind of fun. I'll put some in the hair. Safe travels, dear. Yeah. Say hi to Petra for me. Cal's just going to Nielsen Park to drop off. Are you taking the yeah, please take that in the bucket to drop off some stuff and pick up our checks. So that's good news. All right. I'm going to let that dry, which gives me a chance to sit back. Bye, Linda. Oh, I'm glad you're back, Lisa. Bye, Donna. Let's see if I'm missing anybody here. Oh, that's the bottom. So Lisa, what are you working on right now? I really enjoyed your studio tour yesterday on Instagram and Facebook. That was awesome. I love seeing your studio, and I love studio tours in general. I'm not ready to give a tour of my studio. This is the most functioning open space in my range of studio areas and rooms. So that's why we're doing a YouTube live from here. Looks like I need to do an absorbing preliminary print from the blue, so I'm going to do that. So it looks very, very wet. And I can't do a pickup layer until it dries, so that's going to make a more peculiar looking print because it's not logical, not as logical or developed as the black one. So that's what I got from the blue. Going back through all my Mylar pieces, Lisa writes, a visual revisit from the beginning of the series. Yeah, that's always a good thing to do. If you've done a series of anything, to just kind of flip through and drink it in, and it sort of loads into your brain and gives you a holistic picture of everything and helps you notice things that come up, things that are surprising. You know, the most recent Tradigital webinar I was giving, was that last week? No, it was 2 weeks ago. I used a photograph from one of my Chainlink photo shoots. Some of you are familiar with the fact that I did work where I expressed certain things I wasn't being me, I was embodying states of being pressed up against a chain link fence. And we did, I think, 3 or 4 photo shoots of that. And so I used a number of images, but there are a whole bunch of images that turned out really quite well that I really love, but I haven't used in anything, or one of them I used in something that it's hard to make out what the original image is. Anyway, I brought it out to work with in the Tradigital webinar, and it got me thinking. So that's a series that I need to revisit myself and go through the images and just kind of see now, I'm different now than I was at the time that I made them, or at the time that I was developing that body of work. And so it'll be very interesting to see what I make of it at this stage. I remember having some of you may be familiar with Charlena Wood, who teaches at Visual Arts Mississauga and is just an amazing human being. She's an amazing artist. She and I had a chat once about how the only problem with acrylic paint is it doesn't dry fast enough. So for super layerers, that's true. That blue paint pen is still just a little bit too sticky, so I'm going to wait another minute, have another sip of hot chocolate. I must say it's looking a bit foreboding weather-wise out our window. You can probably see, there's our window. And if I adjust that, there. Now you can see our view. And that's our neighbor's house below us. They have a 2-story house, but they're still lower than us, even though we're a 1-story house, because we're up on a hill, which is very nice. Because our previous house, which was a much nicer house, much bigger, like much bigger. So we're in a 3 small bedrooms plus 1 bathroom bungalow now. At that time, we were in a 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, family room, breakfast room, living room, all that. It was a fabulous house, but unfortunately, oh, you're back. Oh, great. Yeah, that's good.
Still will.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to try doing a pickup layer on this now. Maybe I'll go with the buff since it's a person. And I will add some open medium because that will help with the picking up. Some people do fine with the pickup layers. It's amazing the beautiful prints they get from their pickup layers without the open medium. And occasionally that happens for me too, but more often I get a distressed effect, which is nice, except there are times when you don't actually want that. Okay. Geez, I better put some of my paint away. There we go. Good. Okay, let's see. Mix it up. The key is to get the medium well mixed in with the paint. Go. Let's see what happens. I don't know if the pickup will happen better with the deli paper or with the heavier paper, so let's see. All right, that's the first attempt. Let's put this on right away. And fingers crossed. You can't see the plate. Thank you for pointing that out. Sorry, guys. Here we go. That's better, right? Thanks for putting that in the chat. Oh, that's interesting. Some of it came across, as if I'd drawn it on the paper. And some of it, there's this really mysterious line going through it. There. Isn't that interesting? Huh. Well, thanks for joining us, Debbie. And I hope you be able to make a future one too. So that's, I don't know, I'm finding that kind of interesting. I like the line, the accidental line. It suddenly turns it into something, makes me think about what I could do with that line. Very interesting. Now I have a ghost of my drawing still on the plate. Pardon me. There it is. You can see the residue of it, and so in theory I can pick that up. So I'll try that. Try getting one more print out of that. Maybe I'll try it with the heavier paper though. Almost that cheap. Bye, Debbie. There we go. Oh, and I did that terrible thing of leaving my roller down, which is always, and it glues itself to the paper, which is not really what I'm after. Okay. There, turn it, roller up. It's probably horrifying the printmakers among you. Okay. Thanks, Donna. Be well too. Once I get this plate cleaned off, I think I'll wrap things up. Oh, yes. So you saw how that faint residue that was on the plate, look how it printed once I got a pickup layer there. Bye, Deborah. Take care. And there's even a little tiny bit left, but I think I'll let that one go. So I hope you enjoyed my first virtual studio party. I'm so glad you could come, and let's do this again. I think this was a nice thing, right? Um, I suspect that what I'll do is I'll offer it a couple of different ways, like on different days, and I'll do another YouTube live stream because it's very accessible to everybody, no matter what device you're on. It was inspiring. Oh, I'm so glad, Winnie. That's so nice. Bye, Marianne. But I'll also offer it on Zoom, which gives us the opportunity for greater interactivity, not just through online chat, and just requires you to download an app, which doesn't take up a lot of space or anything, but it allows for a more controlled designed space where we can see each other, talk to each other, share what we're up to, and I think that would be nice. So anyway, stay tuned to social media channels. I meant to put this out on a newsletter, but there's just been so little time and energy with everything that's going on. So all I could manage was social media channels. But feel free to spread the word. Once you see it posted again, please share and let more people know, because I think that there are quite a few people who are feeling quite isolated and maybe anxious or maybe starved for creative time as well as community. So that would be really nice if you wouldn't mind. And thanks, Bev, and thanks, Helen. I'm so glad. And thanks, Christine. That's lovely. It's been such a pleasure. Hey, Pam. Yeah, yes, take good care, everyone. Stay home, except for necessities, and be well, okay? And I hope to see you at the next one. All right. Bye for now. Thanks, Val.